Welcome back to the 5. Some breaking news while we were away. Dr. Ben Carson announced at CPAC outside of Washington that he is now suspending his bid for the presidential Republican nomination. Dana Perino's there. Dana, what are you hearing?
Well, I just listened to his speech, and he's just started the Q&A with Mercedes Schlapp, our new co-host or contributor at Fox. He got a standing ovation from the crowd. It was long and sustained, and so he is wrapping up his campaign here at CPAC 1.
You know, Kimberly, in a way, we've seen such a winnowing of the field, but I think with Ben Carson, there's something else going on. I mean, he really was an outstanding, different figure. I'm not just talking about the fact that he's black, but you were touching on it earlier. He is different than the other men and women who were running.
Yeah, I mean, look, people really like him. You know, you meet him, you like him. He's somebody that people feel good about, that you can trust him. He's very personable, and he really had a tremendous amount of support. I mean, think about, you know, how far he's come from the National Prayer Breakfast, where he first began as like a standout, and he really caught attention, and then it just kind of caught on from there. He had a lot of people willing to open up their wallets to be able to contribute to his candidacy, to his message. He remained very positive throughout this process, and comes out of it, I think, in a really good, strong place. And of course, he'd be, you know, very attractive to have for an endorsement. You know, I was saying earlier during the break that I wonder, though, if he's going to be of the forgiving heart that he would endorse Ted Cruz, especially given what transpired, you know, in Iowa, with you know, the kind of confusion that went on there in terms of saying that he had suspended his campaign and went home to Florida.
Yeah, he had a but the reason that Kimberly mentions that is because they both share an evangelical base. Yeah. But if it comes to Trump, I remember Trump was saying, this guy, you know, he says he went to knife somebody and they hit the belt buckle.
Well, no, Trump repeated what Ben Carson had written in a
Yeah, he said it was incredible.
So Ben Carson will hand off his evangelical followers to somebody. Ted Cruz will probably petition to get those, and I guess we're going to hear about that at some point today. But Ben's been the outsider, and the outsider were Carson, Trump, and Cruz. Even though Cruz is a senator, he was still considered an outsider. So if Ben's going to make a decision to send his following to one, and Cruz pulled what he pulled with him in Iowa, it may end up going to Trump. I can't see him saying, I think Marco Rubio is your guy or John Kasich is your guy. I just can't see that.
What do you think, Melissa?
I think it's interesting that we watch what's happening to Ben Carson here, because he followed the path that everybody thought Trump was, where somebody comes out and they're a phenomenon. They're the unexpected one. He soared so high in the polls. People connected with him in a way that they weren't connecting necessarily with others. It was totally unexpected. And then that flame, you know, sort of dimmed, and that's what everybody expected to happen to Trump. And it's amazing that the Trump phenomenon has been so different. You know, you look at the contrast right now, and you wonder how far it can go, or what was different about it. I mean, Eric, what was different about it?
The passion. I mean, Ben Carson has passion, but he didn't have the emotion. You know, I mean, whatever it is, Donald Trump is tapping into the anger, and Ben Carson was never tapping into the anger.
Oh, no. I think Ben Carson was tapping into the anger, and he certainly was tapping into the religious sense. But, I mean, remember, Ben Carson was saying stuff like Obamacare is the equal of slavery. Remember he said that? And he said that gays, you know, you get gay going in the prison. I mean, he said some wild things that attracted lots and lots of attention. Yes, I'm certain, because I thought you were.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. One thing that was interesting about Ben Carson is that he has an unusual way of speaking. And I find it interesting when people refuse to use the type of public speaking that other people do. People, when they do public speaking, do not talk to you the way they talk to you at a table. He talks to you as though he's talking to you at a table when he's up on a podium, which is unusual and interesting. The other thing, I call it the deserted island metaphor. If you look at the other candidates, whether it's outsiders, whether it's Bernie Sanders, and you had a choice between Bernie Sanders and Ben Carson on an island, you want somebody who knows how to do something.
Well, how about to save your life?
Yeah, that's my point. I was getting there. I was getting there. Do you have somebody that runs for office his entire life, or do you have somebody that can actually separate conjoined twins? You want that person, because when you fall off a cliff, he's going to save your life.
Perino on our CPAC island. Dana, what do you think about that?
I don't want to fall off this cliff, because Dana Perino is on the cliff, and she ran a panel today on millennials at CPAC, and I wanted Dana to tell us about it.
Well, when I was asked to speak at CPAC, I said there's only really one topic I want to talk about, and that is millennials. It's now the largest generation. They are of voting age now, 83 million people. Young people went for Barack Obama in the last 2 elections, and I think conservatives have a lot of ground to make up, but a lot of reason to. And here's a little bit of the panel that I did earlier with my cohorts. Many millennials no longer believe in the American dream. So I want to start there. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think as we've seen, Dana, the challenge with millennials is they don't really have faith in institutions. So churches, for instance, to organize religion, families.
Millennials cannot be predictable, and sometimes the quirkiest and most unrelated things really play with millennials.
Millennials just seem to be less. The Cato Institute put it as less patriotic. I mean, only 38% of millennials see the United States as being the best country in the world.
Dana, that sounded fascinating.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm trying to listen to Ben Carson with one ear because I'm wondering if he's going to endorse somebody, but I don't think he is. Hey, I caught up with Carly Fiorina today. She was the only Republican woman running in the presidential race. She is the keynote speaker tonight. And this point about the future generation, Ben Carson just talked about it. I know that Carly Fiorina is going to talk about that as well as the future of the party. So something to look forward to tonight in her keynote speech, Juan.
Dana, thanks so much. It looks like you're having fun.
Okay.
We'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great time at CPAC.